Hey everyone, Rarity Dash here, time for another blind commentary. And today the review rotation resumes with more Silver Quill reviews. Yeah, for a while I wasn't able to really do review reactions because of the strikes and the 15-minute limit on my channels. Silver Quill in particular was a problem since the reviews are an awkward length really, and I couldn't do more than one under the 15-minute time constraint. So yeah, I just decided rather than just doing one review in a reaction that I would wait and focus on other things for now and then just pick it back up once the strikes were gone. And especially a reason I decided that was that the next one for Silver Quill was Filli Vanilli, which is an episode that most people seem to like, even though I really don't. And I didn't want to just be negative for the whole video and it to just be focused on an episode I don't really like much. So yeah, I just decided to wait, and now the strike's gone and I can finally get back to this. And I'll be getting back to all the other reviewers that I've been reacting to as well, so don't worry about that, they will continue. But yeah, today, Silver Quill, and I'm going to be reacting to his reviews of 3 episodes, Filli Vanilli, Twilight Time, and Ain't Easy Being Breezies. And yeah, I am still going to be mostly negative in this video since I do rather not like 2 of the 3 episodes here. Filli Vanilli is, it's not a completely irredeemable episode. There are some good points there. The song's pretty catchy, and some of it's good, but really it has a lot of problems as far as I see. One is the big thing that most people don't like in the episode, which is Pinkie Pie. She just seems completely off and is overly harsh and completely insensitive to Fluttershy, which is really weird when you consider that one of the first big Pinkie Pie moments is Griffin the Brush-Off, where we establish firmly that she does have a sensitivity for Fluttershy and doesn't want to hurt her feelings. And maybe the relationship changed somewhere. I mean, putting your hoof down, that might have shaken things up a bit, but it just feels weird to me. And there are other things too, like the whole thing with Fluttershy being too shy to perform. I mean, she doesn't... I hear what people say when the argument comes up, but really, there have been moments where she's been okay, more okay than in this episode with being on stage. Like, I mean, the modeling episode with Rarity, that she was able to suffer through it and wasn't quite completely incapable. And I mean, there's other things like the play episode and all that stuff. And yeah, it just feels like it's a bit of a slide back for Fluttershy, and that kind of bugs me. And then there's also the other thing, which is the whole Flutter Guy voice. I think they didn't really do it very well. I'm not the person who normally complains about pandering in the show. I think normally the show knows what it's doing, and when it brings something back, it's usually in a good way as a part of a pretty funny joke, or they're doing something new with it. Season 5 was especially good with that, with like episodes like Brotherhood Social, which took a concept already established and did something really wonderful and new with it. But this episode, what it does with Flutter Guy is it really does feel like pandering. It's they're taking a concept that was awesome, that was really just one of the best jokes the show ever had, and they're bringing it back in a way that isn't really funny or interesting, and it just feels small, and it really holds the episode back for me, and I don't know. Not one of my favorites. As for Twilight Time, that is a good episode. I like that one. It's a funny episode. It's a fun episode. I like all the stuff with the CMC and Diamond Tiara, Silver Spoon. I think it's all fairly amusing. Twilight is great in the episode. It's just fun. It's cute, and the thing I like most actually is that we introduced this whole idea of the CMC learning from Twilight, and Sweetie Belle figuring out magic and continuing the potion stuff with Apple Bloom. That I think is really cool, and I'm glad that kind of stuff has stuck around, and we have seen Sweetie do more magic, and Apple Bloom still doing her potions and all that stuff. I think that Twilight Time, in a way, was a pretty important episode. And then there's It Ain't Easy Being Breezies. Yeah, I unlike Filli Vanilli, I would say I don't like anything about that episode. I mean, aside from the fact that it uses one of my favorite background Pegasi, Flitter, who I think is adorable. But, I mean, if that's the thing that stands out for me as a good thing in the episode, then that just tells you that I don't really like anything here. The Breezies are annoying. The episode is just terribly paced. It's slow and doesn't really move at all, and Fluttershy, she's just too naive, and it's just grating, and the setup is so artificial, and all the ponies, they seem like so one note and just terribly written. Rarity with her stupidly flashy outfit, and just Spike is terrible. I hate that scene with him in the tree and all that stuff. It's just cloying and obnoxious, and I really, really hate that episode. I can't even watch it. It's the one episode in the show that I just really despise, so I'm kind of even a little unsure about watching this review of it. But, yeah, I'm going to do so, and hopefully Silver Quill doesn't like it. I think he's intelligent enough to not like this, so that's what I'm hoping here. Anyway, let's just go ahead and get this started. Okay. And
Fluttershy,
here we go.
My fave. Congratulations on expressing your love of singing. As a sign of our enjoyment, me and the boys put together a little number for you.
Okay. Sombra. Why not? And the Slender Pony. Oh, and the Tatzelworm. Yeah, why not?
Well,
good reaction.
Was expected, probably because somebody was off key.
And yeah, he is a Fluttershy fan, so I'm expecting he's going to like this one a bit more than me.
So saccharine that I think it gave me diabetes. Fluttershy greets the day with her animal friends with a melody that would give Snow White an inferiority complex. And the premise is quickly established as Fluttershy has an unintended audience.
Wow, I've never heard you sing a solo like that before.
This was a teaser clip before the episode's release, and a lot of fans pointed out that Fluttershy has sung plenty of times.
Yeah.
What we might not have been aware of was the term non-diegetic. Thank you, Give and Take. Where's the rest of you? Traditionally, musical numbers are for the benefit of the audience and don't impact the show's storyline. They can help abridge long sequences and provide a fun show, yet the characters wouldn't be any more aware of it than they would the show's narration or soundtrack. So I'd accept that Fluttershy has never literally sung for her friends before, if not for
the stage
one. About it again?
Or
yeah, that too.
I can't take any more singing.
Yeah.
However, there's enough difference here that this doesn't derail the plot for me. This is Fluttershy singing as if no one's there, with all her heart. And that passion is why she's my favorite. Fluttershy has a lot of strong feelings that she keeps hidden, and that goes for talents as well. Her knowledge of sewing, her natural grace, and now her love of music. I hear fans when they say that they dislike Fluttershy because she encounters the same obstacle every time. Yet I find this endearing as it's very believable. When we face a personal obstacle in real life, it doesn't go away after one triumph. Some of our deepest personality quirks are issues we contend with every day. And with Fluttershy being so timid, I would be surprised if she didn't suffer social anxiety. Like
it's realistic, but that doesn't mean it's going to be compelling.
In the Equestria Games. I'm just saying. Anyway, Rarity wants to make Fluttershy a member of her a cappella group, which includes Big Mac and two ponies that I've never seen before and never learned their names. And Pinky has encouragement.
Still not very good on their names either.
Turn on you becoming a seething angry mob, and you'll be horribly humiliated, never able to show your face in Ponyville again!
What was that?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. Karma for this little event.
Just because you failed the Sonic Rain Boom 100,000 times in practice doesn't mean you won't.
This event or putting your hoof down.
Stadium full of impatient,
I mean,
super critical.
That time it was actually Pinkie Pie.
Okay, Pinky, the universe is a little more balanced. That's enough. We get a little development for both Fluttershy and Rarity as Fluttershy asserts that, while she enjoys the pony tones, she has no intention of getting up and singing in front of a crowd. And Rarity respects this. It's a nice change on both parts from way back in Green Isn't Your Color. Speaking of development, Big Macintosh is singing.
Yeah, it is pretty cool.
I'm even more surprised to see him singing than I would Fluttershy. Up until now, he seemed relatively separate from town events. And we see just how much their music inspires Fluttershy to shake her flank.
Yeah.
So when Big Macintosh loses his voice, thanks to Pinky, Fluttershy has the idea to go see Zakura and not the local hospital. Must be an HMO hospital. Problem is, Big Mac won't be ready for the evening performance. So Zakura pulls the best continuity callback this season and whips up a poison joke potion that gives us the return of Flutter Guy. And once they arrange the fake Big Mac singing, it's just a matter of applying the right guilt to get Fluttershy on board.
It's not done very well.
Snap a photo and boom, new background. Turns out Flutter Guy is actually better than Big Macintosh. Shirley is going to have one heck of an identity crisis after this. Yet after one performance comes invite.
I do like that Shirley moment a lot.
Fluttershy claims she doesn't want to disappoint any pony, and her enthusiasm grows with each event. And I really relate to Fluttershy because, here's a secret, I still feel nervous whenever I upload a new video or post a comic. This is the big difference I see between Fluttershy singing and, say, competing in sports. Singing is Fluttershy's personal expression, and I identify with her hesitation. I think any writer, artist, musician, dancer, and athlete will agree that putting forth your best work and having it rejected can be crippling to your mood and confidence. And seeing people delight in your self-expression is one of the most satisfying feelings. So I don't have an issue with Fluttershy's stage fright, and I really enjoy seeing her love singing so much that she blows her own cover. And while Fluttershy is too busy freaking out to hear the applause, at least she's got her friends.
It's like you were living your own personal world.
Pinkie Pie.
Pinky, what are you...
Sounded like a dude.
Stop it, Pinky. I'm starting to...
The screaming fans!
Oh no, Pinkie Pie is unlikable.
Yeah.
Well, that's just peachy. Pinky became unlikable, and the universe broke. Because while fans always have the option to like or not like a character, there are moments where a character can be completely unlikable. And Pinky has been responsible for 90% of the external conflict this episode, which can make it pretty hard to like her, even though her moments weren't out of character. I mean it.
Well, they kind of were.
Getting so caught up in the excitement that she forgets how to read the room and says just the wrong thing. Oftentimes, she doesn't realize that she's hurting some pony's feelings. If she did, I know she'd be heartbroken. Unlike those past episodes, however, Pinky doesn't help contribute to the solution, so there's not a lot to pull her back into a positive light. I think this could have been avoided if the writers didn't overplay her bit. The first freakout was fine, if a little over the top. Then it could have been Fluttershy who internalized the idea and sabotaged herself. No need to have Pinky drive her to tears again and again. Now, I need to figure out how to balance things out here.
Turkey call?
Yup.
Treasure voice?
This was a good
Cold
scene.
remedy?
I like this too.
Not quick enough?
Nope.
Needed a deep voice?
Yup.
Poison joke?
Yup.
Flutter guy?
Yup.
Better now?
Yup.
And that shy filly was living her dream in the shadows because she couldn't bring herself to come into the
Great
spotlight?
Applejack moment.
Yup.
You know, I can see most of their conversations going that way.
Yeah.
Hooray. While Pinky's not at her best, the others are in top form as they try to support Fluttershy, and Rarity shines at her turn as mentor.
You lived your worst nightmare. Was it really that bad?
Funny thing about the fears we imagine, they're often worse than reality. And so Fluttershy takes her first steps towards the spotlight as she sings for her friends. Admittedly, I was disappointed she wasn't singing for a larger audience, yet it makes sense for her to take baby steps. It also opens the door for follow-up episodes, something I greatly enjoy. All in all, this is an episode with great music, great callbacks, a character that people can relate to, and several morals. Of course, a lot of this hinges on how much the viewer relates to Fluttershy. Thankfully, the main cast and some of the supporting characters shine in their own roles. The only weak point is Pinky, and while I still enjoy her character, I hope the writers won't overplay her quirks as much in the future. Speaking of which, I haven't seen Pinky since the universe fixed itself. She'll be back. In the meantime, we've got to get ready to sing for Celestia's next battle.
Yeah.
What did she mean, I'm tone deaf?
That's quite the quartet. Got some nice fan art there.
We've seen how important social status is to Canterlot ponies. I imagine many would want to get to know the newest princess. This would touch back on the moral from Griffin the Brush-Off, learning the difference between true and false
Yeah,
friends.
he predicted it.
I never thought that the Cutie Mark Crusaders would be the ones to carry out this idea. So props to the show for doing something unexpected. It's just too bad that Twilight comes off as such a boring princess. Dude, don't do this to yourself. What? This isn't a Princess Twilight episode. It's a Cutie Mark Crusader story. Twilight's more of a plot piece, and you can't expect a lot of fleshing out. But it's the only episode that's even touched on her new title.
I thought she was pretty adorable in this one. I mean, the whole burger scene.
It's been disappointing that Twilight's life hasn't changed one bit. Hate to break it to you, but that's this show's M.O. Big life-or-death conflicts at the start, then back to tea parties and regular life-or-death experiences. It's been that way for 3 seasons. Yet this season has featured a continuity callback in almost every episode, and it has an overarching Rainbow Connection storyline. Even this episode reminds us of that. So how is it that the writers are drawing on all these other ideas, but have all but ignored to change the status quo?
They're saving it for the finale.
I think a lot of people agree that Princess Twilight Sparkle hasn't done much, and the writers haven't taken full advantage of the change yet. Let me ask you something, though. Why does this episode have to focus on Princess Twilight? Huh? Seems like this line of thought is making the same mistake as the Foals in this episode, getting so fixated on a title that it means ignoring the character. And as a character, Twilight really does shine here. I hadn't thought of that. Wait, how are we even talking?
I was starting to wonder that.
These videos. Not a lot. Well, there you go. Yeah. Speaking of which...
Nice.
Editing's more demanding than people may think. Hope you enjoy the show, bronies of tomorrow.
Twilight Time.
Sometimes there's an advantage to getting these reviews out after the fact. Getting to talk to other fans and having a conversation
title
with
drop.
Oliver's reaction video offered some nice perspective. If one watches this episode for seeing Twilight as a princess, it will likely be a disappointment. Because what does being a tutor have to do with being a princess?
Nothing! Absolutely nothing!
Nice UHF reference.
It's a similar question to why a princess would take up full sitting. The answer is surprisingly simple. She's nice. They're nice. Twilight isn't teaching the Crusaders out of royal duty, and the quality of her teaching isn't the result of her new title. She's doing this as Twilight Sparkle, lover of learning and all-around kind pony. I'm afraid I lost sight of that on my first viewing.
Stupid! Oh, so stupid!
Nice.
And right off the bat, Twilight is a great teacher. We see her giving the Crusaders the materials they need to learn and letting them work through it with some encouragement. A style I much prefer to Celestia's figure it out and try not to die approach. Sweetie Belle is finally getting to show off her magic, Scootaloo is learning basic mechanics, and Apple Bloom is... creating crimes against nature. Not really surprised, the CMC are learning from the grand spellcaster of citrus abominations. Much like Flight to the Finish, this feels like the Crusaders are enjoying genuine development. Until this season, they've tried getting their cutie marks by doing random things as a group, which goes against the idea of individual talent. Here, they're each learning a proper skill. It's focused,
another reason I really like this.
No offense, ladies, this is what you two should have been doing from the get-go. I know you're both busy with running your own businesses, but your sisters have been skydiving off bridges. I'm just going to assume that you gave the Crusaders the idea to ask your friend for help, okay? Okay. Speaking of development, Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon are at least adding variety to being awful. No more blank flank comments, now it's just them taunting others for being less privileged, which is typical bully behavior. If one method of attack stops hurting someone, they look for another avenue. And Tiara furthers her value by having her butler perform acrobatic feats in her place, making him the third most abused assistant in modern media. Who's number 2, you ask?
And your shoes, because how hard is it to poach a goddamn egg properly?
All this comes together as the Crusaders push back and let Tiara in on their visits with Twilight. Both Tiara and Silver Spoon pull a 180 and try to become best buds with Twilight. I mean, the Crusaders.
But now she's a princess, which makes her
Hasbro,
totally awesome.
yeah.
Plus, she has wings. And she's an alicorn. So can I?
Yeah.
Why do I feel like this scene allowed the writers to do some venting? After some shared shallowness, Tiara and Cohort get every foal in on the act while Sweetie Belle develops a catchphrase.
Relax. I got this.
Technically,
you really
the Crusaders don't have a leader. Rather, they've each taken turns as Chief Gravedigger, and this episode is Sweetie Belle's turn. Kind of fits with her voice maturing as Claire Corlett has aged several years since the show began. I guess this means it's the end of Squeaky Belle.
We could be the big shots around here for a change. They'll have to learn something too.
No, not quite.
Seems like the least we can do for the princess.
Never mind. Still cute. How many adults are still digging themselves deeper by saying, I can handle this? It's not a bad message for kids, acknowledging when you're in over your head. And for this problem to grow past the limit of no return, we're going to need a lot more foals than what we've seen in Cheerilee's class so far. And that's probably the highlight of this episode. Ponyville's foal population just grew threefold. Pipsqueak makes a return, we get a nod to Futurama, and there's even Flash Sentry's Earth Pony cousin? Or little brother? Or Flash Sentry Jr.? Mr. Sentry, can you prove to me that foal isn't your illegitimate offspring? I'm not saying he is your illegitimate offspring. I'm just asking a question. A loaded question that heavily implies you've had a foal with another mare.
Yeah. Go Twilight.
Tell me, Princess, how do you feel about being presented out of character for the sake of an internet review? And that's why I shouldn't make headcanons. Now, here's something I don't get about this episode. The foals are completely taken in by Twilight, yet none of the adults are paying her any mind. One could argue that they're comfortable with Twilight based on past experience. I mean, she didn't insist on perks or special treatment before she became a princess. Yet having no reaction seems less about humility and more like obliviousness. It's a non-factor for any pony other than the foals. If nothing else, I think that burger shop owner should go for a promo. Hey Burger Queen, food that's fit enough for a princess and is no longer under investigation from the Food and Safety Administration. If it's good enough for royalty, it can't be a health hazard. Help the environment and buy a second burger instead of a napkin. As the Crusaders' popularity by association grows, they actually start to fall in with Diamond Tiara and neglect their skills. In a way, Diamond Tiara is serving as a dark mirror for the Crusaders, just as Suri was for Rarity and the Wonderbolts for Rainbow Dash. Until they realize that this is creating a barrier between them and their classmates. Oh, and there's a big gate in the way, too.
Twilight Time! Twilight Time!
Dang, those may be the creepiest kids ever.
Yeah, not quite.
Ugh, I stand corrected. And when the dam finally breaks and the Crusaders flee back to Twilight to spill the beans, it's time to put up or shut up. 3 guesses how this turns out. Here's the weak point in terms of Twilight's role. She has been unfazed throughout this whole episode. Patient, organized, a really great teacher. This is the one place where it would have been alright for her to have a negative reaction. I don't mean that she should blow her top at foals. She has a different way of expressing frustration.
Well, guess we better get this cleaned up. Again.
But here,
Looks like Twilight Time is over.
there's at least 2 ways to look at this. This story is told from the Crusaders' point of view, so there's a certain perfection that young people can project onto a mentor, much like Twilight views Celestia. The alternative is that Twilight is such a great teacher and princess that now nothing affects her. I prefer the first view, because being a good character means being imperfect. But again, this isn't really a Princess Twilight episode, and there's a danger in assigning too much meaning. Either way, it looks like the Crusaders' days are done.
Guess they didn't come here to learn after all.
Well, neither did any of you.
Ooh, Princess of Sick Burns. So with their social lives in tatters, the Crusaders offer one last display to thank Twilight for her time. My guess is that since they weren't under performance anxiety, they did a better job the second time around. So much so that Twilight agrees to keep teaching them. And we have another joke at Spike's expense.
That one's pretty good, though. Nicely set up.
Congratulations, Spike. You are the most abused assistant in modern media. I am so sorry you have to put up with this. You are a good character. The writers just don't know what to do with you right now. All in all, Twilight Time is a much lower key episode. The situation is more social than magical, the setting is familiar, and the stakes are pretty low. Yet, maybe we needed an episode like this to keep balance and a sense of perspective. Spike, you can let go now. There's growth for the Crusaders as they learn proper skills, and we get to see a ton of new foal designs. Even Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon have a new, if equally detestable, side to them. Seriously, getting weird now. And we get to see how good Twilight is at teaching. Though I think it'd be a mistake to assume that this is how she'd act as royalty. This is a tale taking place in comfortable territory and without any obligation. If she were to take on a magical apprentice, I think she'd go about things differently.
Oh.
Help? Unfortunately,
Foreshadowing
this
some stuff
episode
there.
doesn't enjoy a lot of standout
Starlight
moments and
Glimmer.
is quickly forgotten. Good development, yet short on lasting impressions. I'm Silver Quill, and I'm taking Spike to therapy. This season cannot be doing his confidence any good. Maybe Dr. Wolf has a free spot.
I'd actually say Season 4 is pretty good for Spike overall. Much better than Season 5.
Get your mark when the time is really right. And you know just what you're supposed
Oh, yeah, that was from Archer. I thought so. Looked like it. so I've never seen the show.
So, some of you might not be surprised to learn that I won't be reviewing It Ain't Easy Being Breezies. It hurts to let go of a Fluttershy episode, yet I'm behind on all sorts of projects, including getting ready to attend BabsCon. And quite frankly, I don't see how I could get all this done without, say, a time machine. And it's too bad there isn't a willing volunteer to spirit me back to the episode. No sir, not one available pony. So I guess I'll just have to move on and do the next.
Does he just not want to talk about it?
Why do I feel like this will end in tears?
Come with me if you want to live.
Wrong movie.
No, I mean, come with me or I'm gonna hit you with my car again.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so this is a collab one?
So, Breezies. I thought we were going to be seeing the trip Fluttershy took when they announced this episode, but nope, we are denied. Instead, the Breezies are coming here to Ponyville. Cool as that may be, I can't help but feel slightly gypped. I thought we would get a just Fluttershy episode in a new part of Equestria that we haven't seen before. Oh well, I ain't that damaged.
Oh, goody.
I paid the hospital bill, didn't I? Anyways,
so
we start with a definite callback
who
to
is
the mention
this?
of the Breezy's trip she took, with Fluttershy now knowing exactly how to greet them.
Should have at
and
least
trying to
introduced
teach
her.
everybody else how to as well. Cheer quietly.
Just a little quieter. You can do it, Breezy.
I don't like this scene either. I
She
think
not only teaches her
it's another
friends,
pandery
but
thing.
also apparently teaches the rest of Ponyville as well, which I think is something to note. Fluttershy, the shyest, most timid creature in all of Equestria, taking charge of the town to make sure that things are arranged properly. That's a bit of a step up for her, don't you think? I mean, hell, she even has the nerve to call out Rarity on inappropriate attire, something I don't think I'd have the guts to do.
When it's that obviously
And we're
stupid.
given the lowdown on the Breezies thanks to Mr. and Mrs. Exposition.
So, no breeze means no magic means the pollen goes bad?
And even Princess Hood won't let Twilight get her dang note cards in order. The girl is doomed to interrupted public speaking every time.
Let me pose to you a question. How much of Mare Mare have we seen this season? Now, I realize that with Twilight being a princess, she outranks the Mare by a large margin, but seeing Twilight at the podium really brought this to my attention. Has her role been completely eliminated now that Ponyville has a princess? Sorry, Mare, you've been impeached.
And one whispered greeting later, we get our first look at the Breezies.
Flitter.
The little ones. Oh my gosh, they are so cute. I'm right with Pinky on this. I may just explode. They're so adorable.
Greetings, small creatures. We have put away all fly swatters for your convenience.
Silver, you're supposed to whisper.
I am whispering into this bullhorn. And right off the bat, the Breezies are a big improvement over their Princess Promenade ancestors. The narrow designs, the elongated lashes. These designs convey a sense of lightness and fragility. A big step up from sticky butterfly wings and antennae onto a...
Yeah,
Shut up.
those do look
Anyway,
worse. I
Poor
guess
little Spike is
that is
to
something.
Get the Breezies via ponyback ride. He climbs a tree and
I need to watch
in
more
his excitement,
G3.
knocks a single leaf loose, which is apparently enough to blow about a third of the cluster off.
Yes.
Seriously?
Yeah.
I get that they're delicate, but a leaf? Wow, that is actually more delicate than Fluttershy. She would at least take contact with the leaf before she gave out. Speaking of flutters, though, she shows an impressive leap into action, moving swiftly to rescue the fragile little creatures. I was impressed by this.
And this is yet another continuity callback. Remember Hurricane Fluttershy, where we learned that she's surprisingly agile when saving small creatures' lives? Truth be told, Fluttershy is a lot like Rainbow Dash. If she doesn't think about the situation and focuses on the goal, she can do amazing things, while everyone else watches. And after nearly getting them all killed, Spike has that long-awaited breakdown.
Why don't you just say it? I'm sorry. This is all my fault.
Well, I bet he's going to take responsibility,
It's Spike.
but he could help with their recovery.
It's Spike.
But he'll appear in the episode again, right?
No.
You're right. It's Spike. Fare thee well, Purple Dragon.
Anyway, a small band of Breezies is stranded, and their leader isn't taking it well. Boy, she must be a terror.
He.
That thing's a guy? How can you tell?
You kinda can't visually. That admittedly was one thing that bothered me about the Breezy design. They look rather unisex, right down to the excessive use of mascara. The only real difference is in the eye shape, but it's such a small detail that it's decidedly easy to miss. However, Fluttershy outright says he in regards to Seabreeze, so yeah, there it is. Seabreeze is a dude, and a rather aggressive one at that. This little guy gets almost as PO'd as I do.
Why are you giving in to these wimps? If they had not been so scared in the first place, this never would have happened. Oh, please! They have no idea what they're doing out there, because they are so incompetent.
What did he say?
I'd rather not say.
You little. She's trying to help you, even if she is making a mistake in doing so this way. There is no call to swear at her or at any of the others or to call them names or demean them or anything else you've been doing all episode.
Come here, Seabreeze. Mama wants to talk to you.
I approve.
Wait. Before you commit a cartoon massacre, can I, 1, get my smartphone and post it on YouTube? And 2, can you hold off because I actually sympathize with Seabreeze?
Elaborate.
Seabreeze is wrong, but he's also sympathetic. This is the difference between a character who is mean without reason and a character who is reacting to a tough situation. Everything we've learned about the Breezies so far stresses that they aren't in control of their own lives. They have magic, but they can't activate it without the pony's help. They have a home, but they can't provide for it internally. They venture out into a world where even a leaf can be fatal. These beings are at the mercy of everything, which must be incredibly frustrating. And the fact that a majority of the stragglers aren't trying to get home must be making it worse for Seabreeze. He's handling it all wrong, yet I can understand why. Plus, when the Breezies realize that Fluttershy is giving them a cushy gig, they fake illnesses just to stay. Fluttershy is apparently more naive with them than she seemed with Discord, yet they're taking advantage of her kindness and using their cuteness to... oh no. It's an entire species of angel bunnies.
Can I at least roast the rabbit before he multiplies more?
Knock yourself out.
And then, of course, our tiny aggressor does what any headstrong individual would do in such a situation. He tries to go it alone.
Oh yeah. I guess that was a big moment for a lot of people. Yeah. Completely forgot that happened.
Silver?
So, yeah, my evil twin brother will be in town for a few months. Might cause some trouble, just a heads up.
What are you doing?
Building an airtight alibi.
I worry what you would need that for. Whatever.
And after Seabreeze runs afoul of some bees, my god, again, it's up to Fluttershy to save him. She tries polite dialogue,
Nice.
interpretive dance, and finally out and out telling them to buzz off. Right, moving on.
This reminded me of putting your hoof down. Fluttershy stands her ground and makes her point, causing the bees to retreat. In all honesty, I think this concept was handled far better here than it was back in Season 2. She wasn't aggressive, nor was she rude. She was simply firm and demanded the bees' attention. Yet another callback, and it still doesn't feel forced. It fits with the flow of the episode, and winds up being what gives Fluttershy the rainbow connection, as you like to call it.
And this is a different epiphany than previous episodes. Rarity and Pinkie realized that they'd forgotten their virtues. Rainbow Dash felt conflicted about her loyalty. Fluttershy is realizing that she's been too kind, too gentle, too much of a good thing. It's a surprisingly mature idea, something that's made Friendship is Magic stand out. My only gripe is that the rainbow motif is short-lived. Both Rainbow Falls and Pinkie Pride had a visual theme, which helped stress the idea. It would have been nice to work some more of that into the episode. Also, have you seen a background alicorn anywhere?
Not this time, thank Luna.
But my drinking game.
And, thinking about it, that actually breaks the pattern. Every time a rainbow eye occurred, there was always an alicorn to be seen somewhere in the background. I think there was a small cue in there no matter what DHX says. The fact that it happened 3 times has convinced me that it was not an animation error. Whether
I'm
it was
pretty
or
sure
wasn't
it
is
was.
irrelevant, though.
No, Ellie, you don't understand how important this is. You see, I'm 90% Irish.
And if you take a shot at every alicorn error, you'll be 90 proof. Anyways, what is relevant here is that once she realizes what her kindness has been doing, Fluttershy hurries, well, sort of hurries, back to her cabin and immediately tells the Breezies to leave. Showing her emotional breakdown was actually a great way to demonstrate that sometimes doing the right thing is not easy and may even hurt, but it is still what needs to be done, and you have to stay strong no matter what may seem easier.
And then we hit a part where I just can't make up my mind. The time window is closing and there aren't enough Breezies to make the trip, so Twilight unveils yet another
this
convenient
forced
spell
nonsense
that we'll likely never see again, and turns them all into Breezies. We haven't unveiled these toys yet, but you know they're coming. Start saving now. Sell off a kidney. Even if we never see these models again, your life won't be complete unless you own them.
Gotta love pointless merchandising. Even so, I must say, the main 6 Breezies are so cute!
No, they're just wrong looking.
I want that one, and that one, and that one, but not Pinky, because she scares me.
The trek gives us a chance to see that Seabreeze has undergone a change as well, which is one of the strengths of this arc. Coco Pamel, the Wonderbolts, even Cheese Sandwich. The side characters learn something alongside the main 6. It's a step up from the daily morals of the past. And while I was mixed on the main 6 as Breezies, this is a treat. It's a great visual style and we get to see why Seabreeze was so upset about getting home. Again, this is why he's a sympathetic character despite being so hostile. And with a farewell hug, Fluttershy receives the 4th speculative key. So we've got a thread, a badge, a rubber chicken, and a flower. If this new treasure turns out to be Carrot Top's prop box, I am going to harm the nearest warm body.
Dare you to try it, chicken boy.
Carrot Top joke.
I'm only 25% chicken on my father's side.
I thought you were Irish.
It was an Irish chicken.
So then, beer battered?
Great-granddad had a delicious funeral.
Overall, this episode was one of the better ones of the season. I can't say
Wow,
it's a
really?
topper, but it was certainly one of the best episodes I've ever seen for Fluttershy. For a pony who is defined by her kind heart, I honestly found it refreshing for her to learn that there are times when you must be stern and tough. It's a very different sort of lesson to learn from the other elements and their epiphany moments, and it also helps to round out Fluttershy's character. I've always found her to be a little one-note, but I'm always
already
glad to
kind
see
of
her
learned
in
that lesson, I
unexpected
think.
ways, as she did here.
Not to mention, we're introduced to a new set of creatures that are a big step up from the originals. We had a second-tier character who helped Fluttershy learn and learned a lesson himself, and the world feels a little more developed. There is some confusion about the portal and where it leads. Wish we had some more info on that. Yet, the only real downsides for me are a potential toy advertisement, in a show that's intended to sell toys, and that Fluttershy's conflict may take a back seat to the introduction of the Breezies. That, and I kept envisioning the Swedish chef every time a Breezy spoke.
First one, right there the egg dish chef, we got the chicky dish chef, yeah?
So how's about we start making our way back to the future? We both need to get ready for BabsCon.
Sure, and to make up for running you over earlier, I'll even let you drive.
I appreciate the thought, but that may not be an option.
Why? My car! You little Irish chicken horse butt! What the hell did you do to my car?
Oh, sure. Blame the hippogriff. This neighborhood's really going down the tank. And this, my friend, is why you always have an alibi. Hey, Doc. Sorry. Time Turner. Hope my evil twin didn't give you too much trouble. Ellie, you coming?
Well, that worked. Eliora. Okay. Never heard of her. But she was pretty good, I thought. I mean, she liked that episode, but I guess tastes will differ.
What? It was only a little hair. You got what?
Okay. Yeah, that was kind of weird. He seemed the most negative on the one episode here that I actually liked. I mean, he didn't hate it or anything. He apparently had an initial negative reaction, but then came around to it. But that was kind of strange. I guess he wasn't too enthusiastic about the Breezies, which is good. I mean, his guest was more enthusiastic than he was. And yeah, I'm never going to be convinced that episode's any good. Everything there is just wrong to me, and I really can't stand that episode. But these videos were still pretty entertaining. I would say that Silver is getting really good with the delivery, and I mean, he was good from the start, but it's even getting better with the humor and the little jokes and asides and everything like that. And he's just really professional, and the reviews are very entertaining, even when I don't agree, which I didn't hear for most of it. And he did focus on some things that I do actually like, so that's a good thing. Like with the Filli Vanilli one, that one did remind me of some of the things in the episode that I actually do rather like, even though there's a lot that I don't like. There are some things, and that really highlighted them, I think. And it's not going to convince me that it's a really good episode, but it did, I guess, remind me of some things that I do appreciate. And that's at least worth something. Though, yeah, same didn't really happen with the Breezies, because I just don't like any of it. But yeah, this was pretty entertaining. I'm glad to be back at these review things, and I'm looking forward to continuing the rotation and getting to everyone else. And yeah, hope you enjoyed the commentary. Let me know if you did, and see you in the next one.